What's up, friends? Welcome to another episode of Tech Tools Tuesday with Dave Gambrell. Today I want to talk about the three things you need, the three basic things you need, at least these things, to get started online. And that means to take your service, to take your product, whatever it is, to display it, collect money for it, and then have the fulfillment, right? You can always add more stuff to it later, but what I'm thinking about here is how can we be as nimble as possible to create something for you online, to get it going so you can start getting money. Because once revenue starts coming in through this, then you can add all the other tools you want. But at a bare minimum, these are like the three legs of the stool that you need. Without one of these things, it's very hard, if not impossible, to generate some revenue online. Okay, so as a reminder, there are over 8,000 different things. There's this guy, if you go to martech.com, chiefmartech.com, or look up the Martech 5000, they've been doing this thing for, I think, since 2014. I don't remember what they originally called it, but then they started calling it the Martech 5000 because there were 5,000 different things that you could be using in your marketing technology stack, okay? Now, they still call it the Martech 5000, but there are over 8,000 different things. You see them all here on your screen. So I can't possibly go through all of them. So my recommendations are based on a couple things. And before we get into them, I want to explain to you how I'm thinking about it. Because if this doesn't fit the criteria for what you're trying to do, then maybe these things won't make sense for you. But I think most of my audience, these things will come into play. So my recommendations are based on one, personal experience. I've been online literally for 35 years and then some. I was online with a Commodore 64 and 128 back on this thing called Quantum Link, which was the precursor to America Online. This was back in like 1985, 86. And even prior to that, I was online through bulletin board systems. So I've been online a long time. If you go look at the internet Wayback machine, you look up gambrell.com, I've been building an email list and collecting emails for at least 25, 30 years. It's been a while, so I know what I'm doing, okay? I've also worked for a couple software companies, software as a service. I work for one of the largest applicant tracking software companies in the world. Some of their clients include companies like Microsoft and Amazon, things like that. And in the role that I had, I worked with everybody in every single department. So I was building out their leadership development team, so I got to work with everybody in every department, literally from the CEO all the way down. Had weekly meetings with these folks. So I understand the process behind the scenes of these software companies. I know what their product roadmaps are all about. I know how to look at them and pick them. And I know how to see which ones make sense and ones that are building out robust platforms and the other ones that are kind of posers and pretending and they don't really have a future because there's a lot of things out there. What I didn't say with the Martech 5000 is, yes, there are 8,000 companies now. There probably have been more than 10,000, but so many of them have gone out of business or been acquired or whatever because either their platform was awful or it was okay and somebody just integrated it into their platform. So it's based on my personal experience. It's also based on client experience. So I have thousands of clients and customers that have gone through my courses that are coaching clients of mine, whatever. And so I have not only used these products myself and seen success in my own business, you probably found out about this very video right here through one of the things I'm going to tell you about today. But also my clients are using the same things or have used the same things and I've seen their results in the marketplace. So I know these things work and I've seen thousands of other people use these things and be successful. So I know the platforms are good and I know you can get success on them. The other thing I took a look at was ease of use versus the feature set. So I know that complexity is the enemy of execution and you want to be able to get your stuff online. So I looked at for beginners or relative beginners, people that are in the early stages of building out their digital marketing foundation or footprint, I looked at how easy it is to get started versus the feature set. There are some things that are super easy to get started, but they don't do anything. There are some things that are really hard to figure out and they do a lot of stuff, but you probably don't need them because they're so sophisticated and complicated that beginners, intermediate folks don't need it. So I looked at ease of use versus the feature set and tried to find that balance. And then I did also look at whether or not they have a robust platform. Now, you may not know this, but a lot of these companies and software get attacked every day by hackers. They're trying to get in there. And so I looked at whether or not these companies have those things in place, whether or not they have a good educational landscape to help you onboard, whether or not their platform has something called APIs. Everything I'm going to share with you today has really good open APIs. And API just means application programming interface. It's just a way for systems to talk to each other in the back end without having to use yet another piece of software to get those things to talk to each other. So everything I'm going to share with you today actually works well with each other. If you decide you need multiple pieces of this puzzle for what you're trying to do, they all work well together. There are some other things I could recommend to you that might be better, but they don't have an open API, meaning they don't play nicely in the sandbox with some of these other tools. And that would mean you would have to add yet another tool to try to get it to talk to each other. We'll talk about that tool some other day on one of these episodes, but for right now, I wanted to keep it as simple as possible for you. Okay, so those are the things I looked at. And then the last one was price/value. So some of the things I'm going to talk about seem a little more expensive, but because of all of the things you get, if you had to go out and get those things piecemeal, it will be much more expensive. Plus, what I just mentioned, the headache of trying to cobble all of these things together. Okay, so based on all of that, here are my recommendations for you on the 3 basic things you need to get started. Without one of these, you're going to have a really hard time having a business online, whether it's products, services, or whatever. Okay, the first thing you need is a sales page or a shopping cart. You need some way to display your wares in the marketplace. You need a page where you can put your stuff out there, people can see it, and then they can click it and say they want to buy it, okay? Some of your options in this space that I would recommend include Clickfunnels. Clickfunnels is a wonderful platform. You'll see my buddy Russell Brunson right there. Explains what a funnel is. You'll see the landing page. You can capture emails, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then you have a sales page, and then you can collect money, okay? And if you want to do upsells right here, one-click upsell and some other stuff, Clickfunnels can do that for you. It's a wonderful platform. They have multiple pricing options for you, but it is one of the best platforms for you to have a sales page/shopping cart, okay? Another one that I use a lot because I do courses. So if you're going to do courses, membership groups, things like that, I would highly suggest that you check out Kajabi. Kajabi is also has a sales page functionality available, but it also allows you to host your courses. It has video hosting built in. It has the shopping cart built in. And it also has one of the other things we're going to talk about today, email marketing built in. Again, some of the features that they have aren't the most robust, but in terms of value and getting started relatively easily, this is a great platform. And as a matter of fact, you probably found out about this thing today. You probably got an email from me to watch this video. It probably came from Kajabi because that's one of the things that powers probably about 85% of my business, okay? Now, if you want something super simple, you just have something you're trying to sell. Maybe you have a physical product, which, by the way, you can sell physical products on Clickfunnels as well. You can do it in Kajabi a little bit, but Kajabi is more geared towards courses, content creators, things like that. Another option would be Samcart. And by the way, wherever you're watching this, I will have links, probably my affiliate links, which means if you go use their service and you decide to become a paying customer, that I will get a commission or whatever their current setup is. Sometimes it's a free month of service. I would appreciate it if you would use my links because that helps me bring these videos to you without any cost. Because the stuff I share in these videos, there are some people that are selling courses on this stuff literally for thousands of dollars online, and I'm just giving it to you. All I'm asking is if I've helped you make a decision, you use one of my affiliate links. So again, they'll be somewhere around here, but generally, if you go to gambrel.com, my last name, gambrel.com/ whatever the name of the thing is, Clickfunnels, that's my affiliate link. Gambrel.com/Kajabi, that's my affiliate link. Gambrel.com/Samcart, that's my affiliate link, okay? Samcart, simple. It'll set up a simple one-page shopping cart for you. I don't know if they have an example. Yeah, here's an example right here on their page. Okay, so basically it would have a video, a call to action, a button. Yes, you can integrate payment processors and stuff with it. It's super simple and one of the easier ones to use, okay? Samcart's another option. And then if you have products with an inventory, so maybe you have shirts of different colors and sizes, maybe you're doing print on demand and you need to send stuff on the back end to other places. Those platforms that I've shared with you so far don't really do that really well, but Shopify would be an option that would handle some of those things for you. So if you have an inventory of different colored shirts at different sizes, hats, different colors, different things on them, whatever, you probably want to check out Shopify. You can actually, if you Google, it's not very intuitive on their main page, but if you Google Shopify Lite, Lite, you can get it for, I think, $9 a month. And you can then add that to any of the other things I've already shared with you. So if you really need some sophisticated inventory control and back-end stuff, then you can add Shopify to your Samcart or to your Kajabi or to your Clickfunnels, or you can use Shopify as a standalone. So you don't need all of them. But again, the stuff I'm sharing with you works well together. That's why I'm sharing it. So if you decide you're going to build something on ClickFunnels and then later on you need the inventory control that Shopify offers, those things play together very nicely. Okay, you don't have to jump to a whole nother platform. You can just add this other thing on if you need to. Okay, so when it comes to sales pages, shopping carts, ClickFunnels, Kajabi, Samcart, and Shopify would be some of the things I would look at. Okay, that's the first piece of the puzzle that you need. The next piece of the puzzle is you need a way to accept payments. So if you already have a merchant account, maybe you have a business already and you have a merchant account where you can accept credit cards. A lot of those merchant accounts have the ability to have an online interface. You can just copy and paste some code. You can drop it in any of the things I just shared with you in terms of those shopping carts. You can just drop it in those pages and you can accept payments that way. But many of you probably don't have that. So here are some of your options. Okay. My favorite is one called Stripe. Doesn't cost anything for this one or the next one I'm going to mention up front. They typically take 2.5% to 3% per transaction, but you can process all major credit cards through here. In many parts of the world, there are some parts of the world where you can't. You'll have to look at some other options. And there are some business cases or some services that you can't use Stripe for. But generally speaking, if you're a speaker, trainer, coach, consultant, you're selling tangible products, physical products, whatever, you can use Stripe. It's one of the best ones out there. It's my favorite. I highly recommend it. But check that out, okay? If you go to stripe.com, you can see that. Another one you may be familiar with is PayPal, okay? PayPal is not as flexible in terms of some of the things you could do for subscription pricing. So Stripe gives you some options where you can do things like pay for a trial. So pay for like a $1 trial for 3 days and then bill them the regular monthly subscription, whatever that would be. You can set something like that up very easily in Stripe. It's not as easy in PayPal. But I actually have accounts for both of these because sometimes I use them for different things. But if you could only pick one, I would pick Stripe. If you already have PayPal, then just go with that, right? Go with what you already have. Unless you're using it and it's creating some frustration, then maybe try out Stripe, right? But just get started. Don't obsess over these two things. Just if you have one, go use it. Okay, don't just switch over to Stripe because I said it's awesome and you should switch. If PayPal is working for you, stick with that. So you just need some way to accept money. Okay, and PayPal is available in some countries where Stripe isn't, and vice versa. And in some countries, neither of these are available. I'm not going to get into all the details of that today because we could talk about payment processors for weeks because there are some other options that you need in other parts of the world. Okay, so when it comes to way to accept payments online, check out Stripe and PayPal. Again, no upfront cost with these. Typically, you pay 2.5% to 3% per transaction, which is average anyway. You can also, although I believe this goes against the terms of service for many of these platforms, but I'll throw it out there to you anyway, right? Do your own due diligence, buyer beware, all that stuff, caveat emptor. You could also, if you wanted to, accept payments for your business through something like Venmo or CashApp. But again, I think business transactions on some of those platforms are against their terms of service. You could even use something like Zelle, right? Those are all ways you can accept money, but I wouldn't do those long term. Maybe for a one-off thing, you could do that, but Stripe or PayPal are your best option because these things also integrate with other tools we'll talk about later. Even if you don't have a shopping cart and you just want to be able to bill people for hours of your time, maybe you're a fitness instructor, maybe you're a coach or something like that, and you want people to be able to pick times on your calendar for coaching slots, there are other tools I'll share in other episodes of this where that integrates very nicely with Stripe, and that's one less thing for you to worry about because you can have that platform collect the payment for you, okay? So Stripe or PayPal. Okay, and the third thing is after you have your sales page, your shopping cart, and a way to accept payments, you need an email service provider. If you've been following me for more than 5 minutes, you've heard me say, build your email list, probably multiple times. If you've been following me for a while, you've probably heard me say it a million times. You need to build your email list. You need to have an email list of prospects and customers. They could be on the same list, but you just need a way to figure out who they are, differentiate them, things like that, okay? So, and if you're going to sell something, right, if you have a sales page, offer something for sale, and then they click a button and you accept payment through Stripe or whatever, then you need to send them an email with the receipt. You need to send an email to follow up with their access information to your course. You need to follow up with marketing messages, things like that. You need an email service provider. You can't continue to do this through AOL or your Hotmail or your Gmail or whatever. There is a way you might be able to do it in Gmail. We could talk about some other day, but basically you need a paid email service provider. Okay. So my recommendations there, two of my favorites are, number one, ActiveCampaign. One of the reasons why I love ActiveCampaign is it the pricing structure grows as your email list grows, which I think is good for a lot of you. So you can get started, I think, for as little as $9. But it also has what I talked about before in the beginning of this. It has the ease of use combined with a robust set of features. So it's got a lot of cool features. You want to be able to do things in your email list like tagging, okay? Tagging. So you can tag people with all kinds of different tags, but the basics would be if somebody comes into your funnel a certain way, comes into your email list a certain way, you can tag them as a prospect. And then when they go through your thing and they buy something, you could tag them differently as a buyer. And then you could set it up so that emails that are getting sent out automatically are only going to prospects, not buyers, or buyers, not prospects, or neither prospects or buyers. Maybe you have another list, right? So they're all kinds of things you could do with that. And a service like MailChimp, which I don't love, which is why I'm not recommending it in this broadcast, doesn't really give you the ability to do that very easily. So, and again, if you're using Kajabi, they have email built in. You can do tagging in Kajabi as well. But if you need like super robust stuff, you need some more features, you could actually use your Active Campaign with Kajabi. Again, that's why the interoperability of these things is one of the reasons why I recommend them. So Active Campaign is a good one to look at. And ConvertKit is also one you can look at. ConvertKit, there it is for you. ConvertKit was originally created for bloggers and content creators, musicians, things like that. It does have a lot of the same features as Active Campaign. It's just their focus is more in the direction of content creators, things like that. But I like it. I still have an account with them. If you're asking me what I use, I tend to use my Kajabi email most of the time. If I need to send stuff out to other groups or segments of my list or whatever, I use Active Campaign, and that works pretty well for me. Okay. So to review, the 3 things that you need minimum, okay, to get started online. Because without one of these, the rest of it doesn't work. Okay. If you had a sales page, but you didn't have a payment processor to collect money, then who cares if you have something for sale if you can't collect the money? If you don't have a sales page, then clearly people don't know that your stuff's available. And if you have a sales page and you have a payment processor, but you don't have a way to communicate with people, then how do you send all of the login information and follow-up information and receipt and stuff like that? Yes, there are edge cases and other ways where we could do all of these things. Maybe you could be communicating with people through Instagram, whatever. Yes, I totally get it. Don't waste your time putting that stuff in the comments. I know it. For most people, in most cases, what I've shared with you here, this foundation of shopping cart, sales page / shopping cart, a way to accept payments, and then an email service provider. These are the things that you need. These are the foundations you need to be successful online, okay? So that's it today for our episode of Tech Tools Tuesday. If you have a friend who needs this, or maybe a friend sent you this and you don't know how to get on my list to get the rest of the ones I'm going to send out, the rest of the episodes, just go to gamble.com/TTT, Tech Tools Tuesday. You can get your name on the list. It'll make sure it tags you, like I just talked about, is being interested in Tech Tools Tuesday, and you'll get the emails that I send out every Tuesday talking about the tech tools that will help you build out a strong foundation that you can scale for a successful business online. Okay, that's it. Hope you have an awesome day. See you.